Today I'm in a mall that killed another nearby mall's hopes and dreams, but now appears headed for the same fate. Welcome to the Hamilton Mall in Mays Landing, New Jersey. This mall's story begins in 1985, when construction began on what used to be an access driveway and overflow parking for the Atlantic City racetrack, which was located just north of here. The mall was built as a joint venture between the Kravco Company and JCPenney and opened in September of 1987. And for 3 decades, this place enjoyed great success. But those days are in the past, and from the moment I walked in almost, I could see that this is in fact a very dead mall. Here's an outdated directory. I'm not sure when it was last updated, but I can tell you that a lot of the stores on there are no longer here. Before this mall was built, this area was served by the Shore Mall, which was located about 10 minutes down the road in Egg Harbor Township. And from the very beginning, Hamilton Mall gave Shore Mall a run for its money. 2 of the 3 original anchor stores here, Sears and JCPenney, both relocated from the Shore Mall. This mall was also a lot bigger than the Shore Mall, so it had a lot more stores and just more to offer. So over the years, this became known as the Superior Mall in the area, and a lot of the people who used to shop at Shore Mall started shopping here instead. In addition to local residents, Hamilton Mall attracted a lot of shoppers from people visiting the Atlantic City racetrack, and also people who were vacationing at the Jersey Shore. Keep in mind we're about a 15-20 minute drive from Atlantic City. Here's Macy's, which was one of the original anchors and the only one still standing. It was originally planned as a Bamberger's, but Macy's retired the Bamberger's name in 1986, so this store just became a Macy's. Here's an empty vending machine. Now I always wonder, what is the story with these empty vending machines? Like, if it's not being used anymore, then why doesn't the vendor want their machine back? Anyway, getting back to the mall's history, in August of 1989, a small strip mall opened up on the property. I'm not sure what was in it at the time, but I can tell you that today it's Bob's Furniture, Planet Fitness, Dollar Tree, Get Air Trampoline Park, and DaVita Dialysis. In 1991, Red Lobster opened up on an out parcel, followed by Olive Garden in 1995. Both of those restaurants are still there today. Up here is where JCPenney was located from the mall's opening until it closed in July of 2019. Then the first floor was a store called Shoppers World from November of 2019 until October of 2021, and then this home living furniture moved in July of 2024. Not the kind of anchor store you typically find in a mall, but I guess they'll take anything they can get at this point. In 2004, the mall underwent an $8 million renovation, which saw the removal of the fountains, trees, and planters, as well as the carousel that was located near the main entrance. New kiosks were installed, as well as new lounge areas with soft seating and TVs. Additionally, the mall received new flooring, new lighting, new signage, and a new color scheme. The mall underwent another renovation in 2013, which saw the addition of H&M and Forever 21 as junior anchors on the site of what would have been the mall's 4th anchor, which never ended up getting built. Also, the food court was renovated, which included the raising of the ceiling height, new paint, new seating, new flat-screen TVs, and a boardwalk-type floor design. Additionally, a new public transit hub serving 169 buses a day was added, along with extensive new landscaping, site-wide repaving, and improvements to 5 stormwater basins. Now, the day I was here, they were having kind of a business expo in the center court of the mall, so there were a lot of tables set up and a lot of people congregated around here. And these people probably accounted for over half of the people in the mall, to be honest. It's actually kind of unfortunate they were doing this because I would love to see this center court empty. Maybe next time. This carousel was added in 2009. Like I mentioned earlier, the original carousel was removed in 2004. And this one kind of has a seashore theme with seahorses and other oceanic creatures, which is pretty cool, and a nod to the area's proximity to the Jersey Shore. And by the way, did you see that sign that says to keep 6 feet apart? Must have been there for the last 5 years. But yeah, I really wasn't happy about this because it kind of ruined the dead mall vibe of the video. Then again, it is kind of funny how when I entered it was completely dead, and then in the middle you've got this sudden bit of activity, and then as soon as you walk past that, it's a dead mall again. If I lived closer to here, I probably would have just come back and filmed it again another day, but it's over an hour away from my house, so I figured I made the trip, might as well just make the video. Now check this out, they turned this store into, I guess, like a party hall. If you have a wedding coming up or a graduation, you can have it here at the Hamilton Mall. This closed anchor here was Sears, which was here from the mall's opening until 2018. Hamilton Mall's decline began in the late 2010s. In August 2018, Sears announced they would be closing their store here, which they did on November 25th of that year. Then in February of 2019, JCPenney announced that they would be closing their store, which they did on July 5th, 2019. So the mall lost 2 of its 3 anchor stores in under a year. Obviously, losing 1 anchor store is bad. Losing 2 is brutal, especially when there's only 3 to begin with. I have to say, I do really like the seashore theming here. In 2019, Kravco sold the mall to Namdar, which is a company that has a reputation for buying dead malls and then kind of neglecting them instead of trying to revive them. Now, their other malls in New Jersey are the Phillipsburg Mall, which ended up closing altogether in 2020 and being demolished in 2024, and Voorhees Town Center in Voorhees, New Jersey, which only had a handful of stores left last year and has been temporarily closed for almost a year now after a small fire in the food court. So that's their track record in the state of New Jersey. Not very good. And Hamilton Mall has definitely gotten a lot worse under Namdar's ownership. I don't think there's really any denying that. To be fair, the mall was already in pretty bad state when Namdar bought it in 2019. They were actually able to buy it for $25 million, which was only half of its appraised value of $50 million. And at that point, the occupancy rate had already dipped below 50%. I couldn't find a more recent figure for occupancy rate, but I went through the footage and counted the number of open versus closed stores. And by my estimation, the occupancy rate is about 41%, which is obviously not good at all. And considering what's happened to Namdar's other malls in New Jersey, I think it is a valid concern that this mall could end up closing in the next few years. Honestly, I have a hard time picturing this mall still being here in 2 or 3 years from now. Now, I have to say, I'm honestly really surprised that the Macy's here isn't one of the, I think, 66 that's closing in the spring of 2025. Now, Macy's is still doing a couple more mass waves of closures in 2026 and 2027, So the Hamilton Mall Macy's could very well end up closing in the next couple years. But who knows, maybe the Macy's here actually does well. The Boscov's at Neshaminy Mall does really well, even though Neshaminy Mall is dead. Another thing that might have saved it is the fact that there's really not any other Macy's in the area. Like, I think the closest one is at Deptford Mall, which is probably almost an hour away from here. But if this Macy's does end up closing, then I think that's really going to be the death knell to this mall. Because it's really the only anchor left. Yeah, there is that furniture store in the old JCPenney, but honestly, I don't see that lasting very long. And even if it does, a furniture store isn't going to keep them all open. You might think that Hamilton Mall would survive just because it's really the only indoor mall in this area. The closest one would probably be Deptford Mall, which, like I said, is almost an hour, if not an hour drive from here. So what exactly killed Hamilton Mall? I think it's a combination of things. First of all, the decline of Atlantic City. Like I said, a lot of the shoppers who used to come here were people vacationing down the shore, especially in Atlantic City, because the road that this mall is on, Route 40, goes directly into Atlantic City. But Atlantic City isn't what it used to be anymore. A lot of the casinos have closed or are struggling, and people don't really go down there the way they used to. Another thing is that the Atlantic City racetrack, which, like I mentioned earlier, was just north of this property, closed in 2015 and has just been sitting there deteriorating for the last decade. There are also quite a few strip malls and outdoor shopping centers that have popped up in the immediate area. There's one called Festival at Hamilton, which is anchored by an Acme supermarket and has a number of other stores including Home Goods and Joann Fabrics. There's a very large outdoor shopping center across the street called Consumer Square that has Target, BJ's, Kohl's, Dick's, Best Buy, and many, many more stores. And then there's yet another one called Hamilton Commons that has Marshall's, Hobby Lobby, Ross, and a few other stores. There's also a Walmart pretty close by. So all of these places have definitely taken away potential customers from Hamilton Mall. Imagine if all of those places were part of the mall and the mall was a lot bigger to accommodate them. Personally, I prefer the experience of shopping indoors under a roof with a controlled climate. I wish I could do all the shopping I need to do in a single building, instead of having to drive to 3 or 4 different shopping centers. Here's the second floor of the old JCPenney, and I believe this is being used by the furniture store for storage. But the actual sales room is only on the first floor. But yeah, as I was walking around the mall, a lot of the closed stores had signs on the doors saying that they had moved to one of the nearby outdoor shopping centers, so it seems like those places are just better landlords and stores would rather be there than here. I mean, this place clearly has no future, so why would you want to pay the rent to be here? I will say, though, that I appreciate the plants around the mall, because you don't really see that much anymore. They've got trees and other little plants, so I think that's a nice touch. No fountains, unfortunately, but this really is a nice-looking mall, I think. It's not as boring as some of the other malls. And it's a shame to see it just sitting here like this, dying. This used to be the children's place, it looks like. They still have that COVID sign up. And you got a closed GNC here. GNC used to be a staple of malls, but I feel like I never really see it in malls anymore, even malls that are doing well. I feel like whenever I see a GNC lately, it's almost always at an outdoor shopping center. But yeah, this mall has been on the decline since at least 2018, and I'm sure that the COVID shutdowns and restrictions definitely accelerated its downfall. I bet a lot of the stores that were here closed around 2020 or 2021. That was what happened at my local dead mall, the Neshaminy Mall. Look how huge this store is, the shoe department. It seems like it just keeps going on and on and on. That place is insanely big. I wouldn't be surprised if it used to be a lot smaller, but then expanded into the adjacent storefronts. Maybe the mall gave them a discount on rent just to keep them here. Alright, so now we're in the food court, which is not looking too hot, to be honest. From what I can tell, there are 6 places that are open and 8 places that are closed, so less than half of the places are actually occupied in here. This place still has its sign up, but I think it's closed. Also, other than Annie Ann's and Cinnabon, which I'm counting as one place because it is one place, I don't recognize any of the places in here. There's no major chains. And take a look at this over here. The selfie station. I mean, come on. I wonder if this hair salon here used to be a restaurant, since it's kind of in the food court. Oh, looks like somebody was having a party in here, huh? I just can't get over the fact that the mall still has up all these signs about social distancing. That just goes to show how much Namdar has actually paid attention to the mall over the last few years. That is to say, they haven't paid much attention at all. I mean, it would take such little effort to get rid of those, but they don't. They have to know that this is a really bad look, right? Another thing is that if you go on the mall's website and look at the directory, it was last updated in December of 2019. This place here, the Rock Shop, also has stores at Plymouth Meeting and King of Prussia malls. It's cool to see an actual music store still around. We'll be leaving mid-October. I wonder which year that was. This here is where the mall's fourth anchor would have been, but like I said earlier, it never ended up getting built. I'm not sure what it would have been, probably either Strawbridge's or Wanamaker's. I'll tell you what it should have been, though, Acme. I bet you the mall would still be doing a lot better if it had a grocery store. Alright, that's gonna just about do it for this tour of the Hamilton Mall in Mays Landing, New Jersey. It's not looking too good, folks. This place's glory days are long behind it, and its days might just be numbered. It's especially sad to see because this is a pretty big mall, and most of it is just sitting here empty. What does the future hold for Hamilton Mall? I really don't know. Considering Namdar's track record in New Jersey, I don't think it'll be here for too much longer. As for what they'll actually do with it remains to be seen. Maybe they'll try to convert it into more of an open-air shopping center with apartments like they're doing at the Neshaminy Mall and the Monmouth Mall. Maybe it'll just close altogether and sit here for years. And who knows, maybe it'll still be open in 5 years, although that seems kind of hard to believe. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon.